Introduction: a practical guide to building rental properties. This isn't your typical book filled with inspirational stories and lofty dreams. This is a raw, practical guide, notes and financial records from a boots-on-the-ground property owner. My name is Lwazi Ngcobo, and I built this business at Inanda. Here, you'll find an unvarnished look at the reality of building, managing, and maintaining rental rooms. We'll start with Property 1, where you can see the full journey from its initial budget to its completion. Then we'll move on to Property 2, a project that's still in progress, allowing you to follow along with the day-to-day challenges and decisions. I won't just share numbers. I'll give you a window into the challenges I faced, how I overcame them, and the struggles I'm still navigating. This is not a story of overnight success, but a testament to what is possible with persistence and a coherent plan. This book is for anyone who wants to build something real. I hope that my descendants, and others like them, will use this information to build their own legacies. Chapter 1: Raising Capital and the Journey of a Lifetime. Before we delve into the details of this journey, you may be wondering where the money to do all this came from. It's a reasonable question, and I believe it's best to be transparent from the very beginning. There was no grand investment or external capital. The years of hard work and savings from my 9-to-5 job funded this project. I was fortunate enough to have worked at Toyota Manufacturing in Prospecton, a place I am writing to you from now, during my tea break. My wife and I also made a conscious decision not to have children early in our marriage, which allowed us to save more. Furthermore, I lived a frugal lifestyle, a trait passed down through my lineage. My father, grandfather, and I have never consumed alcohol or smoked, which created a constant surplus of cash. But a true turning point came in 2017. I was a temporary worker at Toyota, and I was retrenched. I found myself the final death knell wasn't the layoffs that swept through the company in February. I had survived that. I had a clean record, and my coworkers, even the people in human resources, seemed to genuinely like me. For a while, I believed my job was safe. But a slow, quiet erosion began. As the months went on, I felt my role shrinking. I was no longer a key player, but a fill-in, sent to cover for sick employees and to move between different tasks. I was becoming less a person and more a temporary solution. Then came July, and with it, a glimmer of false hope. I was offered an extra 1-month contract. I held on to that hope, believing it meant my time wasn't up. My excitement was a fragile, tender thing. It was shattered that same day. My supervisor approached me, not with congratulations, but with a question that felt more like an accusation. "Who's going to pay you? You don't have a task." The words were a direct attack on my purpose. He went straight to human resources, and just like that, the promise of a future was gone. I packed my belongings and left, a deep sense of injustice settling in my bones. But the story didn't end there. 2 years later, I came back to the company, and I saw that fate had already taken care of him. The pain of my departure, the brutal dismissal of my worth, had been acknowledged and avenged, not by me, but by life itself. Balance of our $250,000 saved in my account. I was on the verge of buying a car when this sudden loss of employment became a much-needed wake-up call. I considered various businesses, but the idea of building rooms for rent was the most appealing. It was a business I felt I could control, one where I could manage most of the aspects myself. Unlike expensive apartments with their high taxes and government regulations, building in the local neighborhood offered a different path. It meant working with traditional laws and the support of local leaders, which allowed me to build without the constant interference of the municipality. My first property began with 8 rooms. While builders worked tirelessly for me, I took on a series of less-paying, temporary jobs just to stay busy and continue earning. For a year, things ran smoothly. Then came a serious problem, one that taught me the hardest lesson of my life. Never build next to a river. We experienced a flood, and though it was a warning, I stubbornly pushed forward and added another 4 rooms. 2 years later, the true floods came, covering the entire building in water. For the first time, I felt the kind of stress that kept me awake for 3 days straight. However, when the floods came again in 2022, I was prepared, as were my tenants. I had returned to work at Toyota and had some money saved. My tenants lost their belongings, but I was able to buy food for all 12 of them so they could start over. We parted ways, but the lesson had been learned. In 2024, I began the new, successful rooms that are now fully operational. The challenges were many, and some persist to this day, but I have overcome them. Remember, there's no school for this. I figured things out as I went, juggling people, building materials, deliveries, workers, family, and eventually, the tenants and government taxes. The worst of these, by far, has been crime. Here in South Africa, we are dealing with it on a larger scale. I'm grateful for the efforts of General Mlamlam Kwanatsi of KwaZulu-Natal, who fought crime in my neighborhood of Inanda. Before his work, criminals would intimidate tenants and steal their belongings at gunpoint. The need for security became paramount. As you will see in the figures, I've had to invest in cameras, alarms, and a strong security presence. The great part is that this property, which cost me our 600,000 to build, now brings in a monthly income of our 12,000. Of that initial cost, I can attribute our 100,000 to our 150,000 to mistakes, which I fully intend to improve upon and save on the next property I build. Security remains a threat in our townships, from extortion mafias to new criminals, but where I am, it's not as bad. I am a citizen of this area, and I can defend myself while also giving the law and the South African Police Service the benefit of the doubt. What inspired me to take this journey? In 2016, before I took this business seriously, my life was cool and average. I dressed well, had a girlfriend, and so on. But when she became pregnant, I had to start thinking long-term. That's when I bought my first 6-room shacks for our 35,000, which brought in our 1,500 a month. From that moment on, I never stopped. My entrepreneurial spirit was ignited. I started learning personal development on YouTube and other social media, and my life changed. I read books and continued my education, even starting a healthy diet and jogging 5 days a week. This is my first successful property, and it matters because we didn't use fancy engineers. We used builders and accessed most things ourselves, taking risks while trying to save as much money as possible. On the other hand, I had to negotiate with plumbers, electricians, and bricklayers, all while trying to feel alive and not completely constrained. Those small personal purchases, as you will see on the slips, don't count in the end, but they were important to my mindset. For example, the person who did my burglar bars was one of the worst I worked with. At 34, I'm the same age as some of these guys, so a lack of respect often led them to drink on the job. I used to let things slide, but it affected the quality of the work. Now I am strict and only hire the best. For instance, my first builder struggled with getting the rooms right, so for the house I'm building now, I didn't hire him. We're still on good terms, but he was too much of a risk. I no longer compromise on quality because of friendship, and I definitely don't take advice from people who have no skin in the game. Chapter 2. The new project, lessons learned, and a different approach. The properties I'm working on now are a bit more flexible. For one, I'm building them on my family's land, which means I've eliminated the cost of buying land. The first property's land cost are 50,000, and I've learned that if you can avoid such costs, you should. Now that I know the process, I'm making fewer mistakes. The risk of my materials being stolen is also low since I'm building at home. I know who to trust and which tribes are reliable, and frankly, my own tribe, the Zulus, are not always one of them. The biggest challenges on this project have been the rain and the difficult driveway to the site. Everything feels far away, but I've paid my workers to keep going regardless, because my mission is to get the job done, even if it costs a bit more. Waiting for the perfect time is a luxury I can't afford. I also experienced several delays with hardware stores that failed to deliver on time, or at all. I learned that you can't just blame others. You have to take charge. For example, after 3 weeks of waiting for a roof delivery, I had enough. I hired my own transportation, even though it cost me extra. Now, moving materials is much easier. I've had people who messed up on my last job come back asking for work. Sadly, they won't get it. One guy installed the ceiling board but refused to paint it. Another made terrible burglar bars and fought with me when I told him they weren't what I wanted. I also had electrical problems, and my cousin, who did the wiring, ran away when it was time to fix them. I ended up paying 3 times the original amount to get it right. I learned my lesson the hard way, and if you've read this far, please feel free to call me if you want great workers. I need to give a special mention to a few people who have made a difference. My mom is incredibly supportive and can always calm me down during difficult times. Masuku, my right-hand man, is always there when I need him. Malangu, though he sometimes disappears, always comes through. And Babsbu has also helped a lot. Last but not least, to my tenants. Without you, I am nothing. Let's continue to respect one another and work together to make our community a better place to live. In closing, as the leader of this entire operation, I've learned to pay attention, to have ideas, and to apply them. I've also learned the value of humility. I spend most of my time alone, thinking things through in my head. I'm no finance guru, but I can tell you this. Always try to have some money left over while you're building. Avoid having days where you're completely broke. That peace of mind is worth more than rushing a project to finish quickly. Remember, you're not solving for money, but for long-term stability of a cash flow. Take your time, but keep moving. And most importantly, avoid loans and use your own money. Here's an important detail. I used the rental money from my old rooms to build these new ones before I got used to the new rental income. This helps me stay focused on the goal and avoid buying cars or other luxuries. While building, you may need to sell and used items in your home, like laptops, to fund your property. It's okay to get bored, but set a timer and get back to work. My constant motivation is the uncertainty of life itself. Chapter 3: Humble Beginnings and Future Dreams. This is my oldest property, a set of rooms in the township. Just the other day, a heavy windstorm hit, and we had to make some repairs. People are still living there, and we haven't started a full renovation for a specific reason. Government housing subsidies are on the way. These subsidies will exponentially increase the property's value, so I'm just buying my time. The rent here is low, and maintenance is rare. I simply built the rooms and handed them over to someone who collects rent on my behalf. This brings us to a final lesson. As your business grows, banks will offer you money. If you are afraid of debt like me, stay away from it. Also, explore any legal tax avoidance you can. In these areas, for example, water is often free, though it's only available for a few hours a day. It works out. Now, while investing in city apartments or suburban houses might feel safer and more convenient, it's also far more expensive, and you can end up with less profit. The choice is yours. Building in the city is expensive, too. In closing this part of my story, thank you for taking the time to read it. I hope you can take action and practice delayed gratification so you will have more money in the future. Finding your opportunity. For clarity, your circumstances may not be the same as mine. Your income or demographics might not allow you to follow my exact path. But one thing is for sure, when it comes to property, opportunities exist everywhere in the world. Here's how you can find them. Asterisk check with the local council or municipality. Asterisk ask about old, deserted houses and their ownership. Asterisk talk to independent realtors who earn commissions on the sale of land and houses. Asterisk depending on your state or province. Remember that some kings still own large tracts of land. Use their power to your advantage. Asterisk do your due diligence. Don't be so blinded by money that you buy a property without involving witnesses. I learned this the hard way with a piece of land I bought. They didn't tell me it had a tombstone on it until it was too late. While it was negotiable, that tombstone now sits on my land. You must ask these questions as soon as possible. Check if there are any water or sewage pipes passing through the land. Get your affidavits and deeds of sale agreements in place. Then, once everything is good, you can celebrate. I was also privileged to have a rich grandfather. We became close as I got older, and he saw my potential. When I needed to borrow our 40,000, he gave it to me. Lwazi Ngcobo gave me hope and empowered me, and I'll always be grateful. Although I managed to pay him back in 6 months, without that money, the opportunity would have been gone. That's the money I used to buy my first old 4-room property. Mindset and management. As you build your rooms in your life, don't just do things from memory. Write down what you need to do and buy. Use your phone for reminders and listen to business podcasts. They don't have to be just about property. Listen to anything about business. Read biographies of successful people, listen to audiobooks, watch online tutorials, and stay motivated to do the work. Aim for quality, not perfectionism. Just do your best and keep going. Focus on depth, not quantity with poor quality. This is how you'll retain your tenants. Who are your customers? Pay attention to the tenants you let in. They should be presentable and have furniture. Avoid tenants who are just there with a mattress, because they often cause problems in your community. Tolerate bad behavior from a tenant twice. After that, let them go. The ringleaders who influence others to rebel against you must be dealt with immediately. Create your own standards and stick to them. Help your tenants and give them the services they need. What I did was share the maintenance responsibilities with them. So if they break something, we fix it together, which keeps my pockets from breaking. The greatest part of all this is that I can be away and fully enjoy my life with my contractors, plumbers, electricians, and security on speed dial. Sometimes I'll give my tenants their numbers, but I also check all the feedback when I get back. If the tenants don't report a problem, they have to endure the inconvenience until I can fix it when they leave. The main problem is noise. It's the first rule I lay down: no noise. The gate must be locked 24/7, 365 days a year. Since that rule was established from the get-go, they never forget it. I had to endure people with kids so they tolerate each other. Time and discipline. We can talk and advise each other, but we must factor in the effort and time this requires. For 2 years, I did nothing but save money from my 9 to 5. I never saved more than our 300,000, but the minimum to start a building project is our 180,000 to our 200,000 in South African money. So, how do you keep yourself from spending this money over 2 or 3 years? Here's what I did. I spent time with my poor friends, not poor in a demeaning way, but in a way that means we spent less. We ate fat cakes and chips, not shisanyama and expensive alcohol. You still get to enjoy life, but you do it without spending a lot of money. You keep your friends, even though your circle might change once you start making money. During the building phase, there will be days when you feel like sleeping in or are afraid of people seeing you. Those are the days you need to be hands-on and get your project going. Tasks like painting and installing curtain rails are yours. The fear of what people will say must be out of your mind. Go and do your work regardless. People actually don't care. Don't steal other people's tenants, especially if you know you're having a negative effect on another person's business. Instead, use social media to get people from different areas. Be a bit more expensive so you stand out and attract great people. Money will come, that's for sure, but it will probably take you 7 years of hard work. People will respect and congratulate you, and they might even say you were lucky or try to show you different opportunities. Stay grounded. The journey of building a financial breakdown. This is a detailed financial record of a construction project, documenting the costs and payments involved in building rooms. The entries are presented chronologically to provide a clear picture of the project's development and associated expenses. Initial phase, May-June 2023. Initial costs. The project began with a series of payments for labor, materials, and administrative tasks. These included money given to various individuals like Makai, Umankulu, and Jojo for tasks such as cleaning, material procurement, and plumbing. Major material purchases. The first significant material cost was our 25,000, with additional expenses for plaster, soil, and stones, bringing the total to our 37,400. Brickwork and foundation. Makai received our 6,000 for bricklaying. This phase also included costs for transporting blocks, our 2,400, and cement, our 4,100. Total as of June. The initial total for this phase, including materials, labor, and other small payments, was our 7,500. Roofing and windows, July, August 2023. Roofing materials. A significant expense was the roofing, with our 39,000 for planks and nails alone. The total for roof tiles was an estimated our 30,000. Windows and doors. The cost for windows and doors was our 18,000. Labor and other costs. Payments to Makai for brickwork are 6,000, and roof installation are 11,000 are noted. A substantial payment of our 12,800 was made for additional planks and gang nails. Total for building, walls, roof, windows. The total spent on these components came to our 290,198. Plastering and finishing, September, October 2023. Plastering materials. This phase included costs for cement, our 3,779, plaster sand, our 2,400, and other finishing materials. Labor and gates. Payments were made to plasterers, our 6,500 and our and a deposit for 2 gates are 3,000. Asterisk total as of October 13th. The cumulative total for the project, including the site costs, are 50,000. Reached are 390,858. Ongoing progress. Chapter 4. More lessons. Family, business, and the fine line. I once had a near confrontation with my uncle and aunt. What started as family looking out for each other almost caused a permanent rift. My uncle, a wise man, reminded me that family is what's most important and that we should handle matters as family, not as business people. Here's what happened. My grandfather had a large number of concrete blocks lying around his home for years, which he had planned to use for a project. Since I was just starting my own building project, I asked if I could use them, with a promise to pay him later. He agreed, and the work began. My uncle had also started a block business a year before, but had grown tired of it, leaving some blocks behind. He told me I could use them as well, but we didn't discuss a price. Being a family of hustlers and business people who value our name and our word, I didn't think much of it. After a while, I started paying my grandfather our 10,000. I spent a lot moving the blocks to my site, so I felt this was a fair sign of respect, especially since he didn't need the money. Unexpectedly, I heard my uncle needed his share. This was fine, but the price was too high. We talked it over, and I referenced hardware store prices to negotiate a fair payment. In the end, we agreed, and I paid them both. This was a risky business, and it taught me a valuable lesson. When dealing with family, always get clarity on terms at the very beginning. Because if things go wrong, you can't just remove bricks from a finished wall. The same goes for your workers and suppliers. Always be clear. What I've also learned is that while you want to finish a project, you should also maintain a healthy balance in your account. Don't build mediocre rooms just to save money. Invest in quality materials, like roof tiles, so you can build once and avoid constant repairs. Only plumbing usually needs frequent attention. Having some extra money allows you to weather any storm. Drawing a line. When I started this path, I had a girlfriend. But she wasn't part of the whole journey. She was young, didn't share the vision, and was often distracted by the typical life of a young person. This taught me another critical lesson. For men in this business, women should not be everything to you. A staggering 90% of your tenants will be women, so you must draw a serious line. They are beautiful, but they are not angels. If you lose focus, you won't enjoy your money, and your new wife may even mistreat your tenants. Be careful, because if you break up, she might lose respect for you and influence others to do the same. The dangers of blind trust. When I built my first rooms in 2017, I failed to properly vet the people I hired. I trusted them without any investigation. When my first bricklayer left the job as soon as he started, I had already given him a 20,000 deposit. I learned the hard way. Never give bricklayers money in advance, especially if they are from the Zulu tribe. He left a pallet of cement to expire, and I panicked, looking for someone else while trying to take him to court. The court process, however, was a distraction, costing me time and money. He eventually sold his house, and I couldn't find him easily. The next builder I hired worked quickly, but he was careless with money. I got a reference from my uncle, but what I didn't know was that this builder didn't know how to do a roof properly. I spent thousands trying to fix a leaking roof. These were the results of not familiarizing myself with professionals or companies that could provide proof of their work. To make matters worse, my uncle knew this guy only did walls. After that, I stopped taking his advice, not out of blame, but because all his referrals backfired. I was naive. On my next project, I did my own research, demanded proof of work, and it became a success. My experience with my electrician cousin, which I mentioned earlier, was another example of the same problem. This book is a compilation of raw reflections on topics that shape our existence: knowledge, money, discipline, and the pursuit of meaning. Whether you're seeking clarity or validation, these chapters aim to challenge, comfort, and catalyze change. The dangers of assumptions. Age doesn't equate to wisdom. Parents often silence curious children with threats rather than admitting, "I don't know." Curiosity is the antidote. Without it, we stagnate, defend outdated beliefs, and fear change. True growth begins with humility. False confidence. Why average people think they know everything. Socrates, one of the most respected philosophical thinkers of all time, was famously quoted as saying, The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Yet, in our modern world, confidence is often rewarded more than curiosity. We absorb bits of information from unreliable sources, the news, social media, and simple gossip, and we mistakenly believe that this familiarity is the same as expertise. The COVID-19 pandemic made this painfully clear. Everyone had an opinion, but in the end, the only thing that mattered was following the official regulations. When you talk to people, what do you talk about? Are you the type of person who always has an answer and loves to disagree? Or are you someone who agrees and always adds to the conversation? Today, we are going to talk about this behavior and the mindset behind it. General knowledge is everywhere, and people think they know things because they listen to their friends, watch the news, or read blogs that aren't written by professionals. Take the COVID-19 case, for instance. Everyone had something to say, but nothing seemed to matter except following the regulations. The topics we discuss are often taken lightly, yet they affect our lives in profound ways. People can influence their friends with wrong information, and a YouTuber trying to get ad revenue may teach a subject poorly, or even with good intentions, may fail to interpret the source correctly, leading to distorted data. People also think they are smart simply because they are older. Have you ever watched a parent argue with a smart kid until the parent threatens to punish the child if they don't stop asking questions? This could be about anything, religion, the law, and so on. We, as parents, are unwilling to say, "My child, I don't know." Instead, we stand by our beliefs. Or, like my mother, who says, "We were born into things like this, and you're not going to change them." We constantly argue about money and marriage, and I always try to find a simpler, cheaper way. But the arguments from adults become stronger, more personal, and intimidating because they have been through it. My main concern is it really worth losing all this money for one day of celebration, only to go back to work and start all over again? The lack of curiosity. When you think you know everything, there is no room for improvement, no open-mindedness, and no empathy. To truly have a shift in your life, you need to be curious about things that seem out of your reach and about facts that can revolutionize your life. Avoid settling for old concepts and learn to be adaptive to change. You can act like you know, but when it's time to perform, you will underdeliver. Don't be that person. For myself, I have admitted that there is only so much I can know, and I leave the rest to people I trust who have my best interests at heart. The alternative is to pretend I know more than I do and remain in the same place for the rest of my life, entertaining unproductive debates. That, my friends, is a fake life. No one sees themselves as average. When I'm in a taxi, I can join a debate and find that no one wants their points challenged. Everyone wants validation, even from a complete stranger. You don't want to live with this need for social acceptance. Live your own life. Cultivate your own powerful ideas, and take what other people say with a grain of salt. Stay away from information that won't do you any good. There is no lesson or awareness to be gained there. Instead, feed your mind with the best minds in the world, and you will avoid being another speck of dust opening your mouth to spread misinformation. The problem with assumptions. People often base their knowledge on assumptions and hearsay rather than on reliable sources. News on TV and radio can be misleading due to political agendas and the monetary benefits to broadcasters. And the fact that some of these institutions are government-owned means they may tell you something completely different from the truth. Yet people still stand by tabloid negativity and terrible news that isn't newsworthy, as well as TV propaganda. Once a person finds themselves right just once, they assume they are a genius. Since the average person doesn't read books except for textbooks that they skim for marks, you cannot take what people say to heart and use it to guide your life. As a person who wants to be better than average, you must make a conscious choice about your data consumption. Don't diminish people's views outright, but don't digest them quickly either. Fortunately, we have sites like Quora, which have great information. Unlike Facebook, Quora has substance. People go there to answer others' curiosity and fill in the gaps of knowledge. Twitter and Facebook are mostly for fun and amusement, and you rarely get good insights unless you follow the right people. Thank you for checking out this blog. I know I haven't been posting much lately, and I apologize, but I've come to enjoy being missed. I notice the response is higher when I've been away. However, that's not the only reason. I found a new job, and as I write this, I'm at work, doing anything I can to balance things and not lose my connection with you. The power of efficiency. Why being efficient can literally save your life. Our lives are made up of days, and we are all just living them, surviving and hoping for the next. Now, imagine if on those days you get your work done on time, or even earlier. Parkinson's law. This law states that your work expands to fill the time allotted for it. The same applies to time. Your tasks will expand to fill the equivalent time you have in the day. You can force this law to work for you by simply stopping procrastination and avoiding distractions. Or, you can schedule distractions. For example, instead of working on a project for a full hour, split it into 15-minute bursts with 5-minute breaks. This might seem less efficient, but trust me, it works. On the other hand, if you are a creative person, you can decide not to leave your zone until you have finished your verse, your painting, or that line of code. You might ask, what if I work with people? Say you work at SARS, a government institution. I once saw an old woman there who was incredibly efficient. There was no small talk. She was literally running to the printing machine to get papers and have me sign them. She was a true force of efficiency. When it comes to money, there are many strategies, but it's easiest to start when you first get a job. When I got my first high-paying job, I set up a stop order that automatically took a portion of my money. By the time I was retrenched, I had our $250,000 in my account. So, be efficient in both your financial life and your productivity. The downside of efficiency. Everything has a positive and a negative side. Your job is to figure out what works best for each situation. When you are studying, if you have an assignment due at the end of the month but get it done the next day, the results are often amazing. But if you do it under pressure at the last minute, depending on the person, you might get terrible results, while others thrive on the pressure. Don't run the risk of not getting the work done at all. I once thought I gave my best when I worked under pressure, but I ended up studying in a taxi and barely grasping what I had learned, which caused me to fail my tests. Tomorrow, I have a job interview. It's a no-brainer that I have to be there on time. But if inefficiency is my habit, I will suffer the consequences. I need to get myself on the right track and prepare for the big day. It's not just about being on time. It's about having effective responses to questions and preparing smart questions to ask when given the chance. Another problem with being early is that you can lose a batch of time when nothing happens to cause a delay. For example, if I have an interview at 8 o'clock and arrive at 6:30, it is crucial how I spend that time. It's still a moment of my life being recorded and accounted for. I can have a small talk with others who are waiting or read a book on job interviews, but I have to be careful not to cause myself unnecessary anxiety. Saving your life. As I explained in the introduction, life is made of seconds and minutes. Once you finish an hour-long task in 45 minutes, you give yourself a 15-minute break to do what you like, and that is true living. On the other hand, if you are in a negotiation meeting for your company, or you are an independent salesperson, and you know that the sooner you close the deal, the sooner you get your fat commission or can split the difference and go on vacation with your family. The mantra is the sooner, the better. But as a rule of thumb, never allow time to put you under pressure in a negotiation. If you've got your number, you have two options: bargain hard or hurry to your vacation. One may lengthen the talks, while the other may lengthen the vacation. It's your choice, but when factoring in time, closing the deal is a good option. This automatically and temporarily saves your life from working to actually living. Here's a big example. How fast can you work to retire early? Whether it's office work or physical work, both take a toll on your physical and mental health. Working fast is not the answer, but working hard and smart is. See, working on yourself after hours is more important in your life because it will give you ideas on how to retire early. Working hard and getting promotions is a great bet, but your ultimate goal should be to increase your income. Take overtime, but make time for your family. Either prioritize family and get used to it, or don't run away and hide behind your work. Find a balance. Be efficient with your family, and you will see that your job matters. But once you retire, what will you retire for? Families can become dysfunctional because we don't know what's happening in our homes. Parents are respected because they are the breadwinners, but children don't know the values or principles of the home. Being efficient in this area will reduce corporal punishment and help your kids feel open to you. I will take a moment to ponder this point because it's important for your health. Getting things done reduces your stress level. Instead of having a pile of tasks in your head, write them down on paper and use a reminder on your phone to snooze them if they aren't urgent. My head has all the room in the world, and important things are written on my phone where I get reminded all the time. My goals are on paper. I check them when I get bored and sometimes find that I need new goals because I've already crushed the old ones without even realizing it. The Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. You are not what people expect of you. You are like water. You can change form to fit the positive or negative situation you find yourself in. This lesson can be found in the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Be flexible. The Pareto principle applies to every aspect of life. We spend 80% of our lives at work and 20% on our personal lives. The question is, do you like that ratio, or do you wish to change it? Some of us find meaning in our jobs, and we are completely okay with it, while others, well, The 80-20 rule also applies to your finances. 80% of your income goes to 20% of the things you spend money on. This means you have one thing that is wasting most of your money, and it's not spread out equally. My advice is to be efficient with your money and make sure that 20% is made up of assets, things that pay you back. 80% of your time is spent on social media, and where your attention goes, your life and money will follow. If your car is old and constantly needs repairs, be aware of it. A car is important for people who move around a lot and whose businesses depend on it. Other than that, it can be a real money waster. Even if you value every minute of your life, you should still drive according to the speed limit. Decisions and lack of concentration. Life is hard and full of challenges. Would you rather spend your time moving from one thing to another, never mastering anything, or focus and make what you chose your life's work? I've come to realize that you don't need to be a master of everything to be successful, except for mastering people. Mastering one specific skill means your mind is fixed on that one thing. But if you delegate and pay talented people, you can have a better life. The problem is that these people will also rely on you. You need to be credible and influential. This type of person sometimes has to be a jerk to get things done, and if that's the case, so be it. You cannot always be soft when dealing with people. You only need to balance this behavior, and a family environment is not good for this unless they can easily adapt and not take offense. The time it takes you to make a decision is the difference between winning and failing. There are times to think, but if the deadline comes and you haven't made up your mind, you need to exercise your decision-making muscle. Take a risk and face the music. Not making a decision is the most terrible decision of all. Bonus, the game is social. I have a tendency to dislike losing, but I still have a bad habit of not weighing a situation before getting into it. While you are trying to get things done on time, you might rub people the wrong way. Don't leave scars on your way to success, and be aware that others will try to stop you because this is how things are done around here. You can potentially lose your place in that environment. Play it cool while you try to maintain efficiency in your own work. In group work, finish your portion on time, or even single-handedly get things done if the group isn't putting in the effort. This applies to schoolwork as well. I experienced this when I was studying with my own money. It became clear that if I didn't drive the group, we would lose marks. And when I was wrong at one point, I had to pay for the bus fare of the people who came if I didn't make it. On the other hand, there were times when I was the one person holding up the project, and I'm not bragging here, but if I had been there and the other person was absent, the project would have continued, and the absent person would have suffered the consequences. In short, make up for your missteps. We have come to the part of the blog where I have to love you and leave you. I wish to get someone who can narrate this for me on YouTube and get this type of information out there. The true meaning of money. Money is a test of character. Money isn't just paper or numbers on a screen. It's a powerful tool that reveals a person's true character. How people handle it, spend it, and treat others because of it shows their integrity. My mother and I have a clear understanding. When she borrows money from me, she pays it back, and I do the same. This isn't about a lack of trust. It's about mutual respect. By keeping our finances in order, we prevent money from poisoning our relationship. This same principle should apply to everyone in your life, especially those you're in business with. I cannot create or send you a PDF. However, I can compile all of our budget conversations into a single, organized text document that you can easily copy and paste into a program like Microsoft Word or Google Docs to save as a PDF for yourself. Here is a summary of our budget conversation, which includes the organized budget, the suggestions, and the discussion about your house project. October budget and financial plan. 1. The corrected October budget. Income. Asterisk salary are 13,000. Asterisk rental income are 12,000. Asterisk other income are 2,000. Asterisk this includes our 1,000 from so long, our 600 from Malum, and our 400 from Katho. Asterisk total income are 27,000. Savings and house project. Asterisk savings are 20,000. Asterisk this money is specifically for your house project, moved from your emergency account. Expenses. Asterisk rent, Nkulu are 5,000. Asterisk stockful are 5,000. Asterisk Vodacom are 450. Asterisk Telcom are 450. Asterisk food are 2,000. Asterisk transport are 1,700. Asterisk bank fees are 400. Asterisk total expenses are 15,000. Budget summary. Asterisk total income are 27,000. Asterisk total expenses are 15,000. Asterisk money left over are 12,000. 2. Financial suggestions. Asterisk separate savings. It's a great idea to track your savings separately from your regular income and expenses. This helps you see how much money you have left over after all your bills are paid, which you can then use to reach your savings goals. Asterisk track all money coming in. You correctly included the money from loans as income. Continue to do this so you have a complete picture of your finances each month. Asterisk consider an emergency fund. While your house project is important, having a separate emergency fund for unexpected costs, like medical bills or car repairs, can provide a crucial financial safety net. 3. The house project and emergency fund. Asterisk the decision to use funds. Using your R20,000 emergency fund for your house project is a risky move, but it's not necessarily the wrong decision. Asterisk the risk. You are now vulnerable to emergencies. If something happens, you might have to rely on loans or credit, which can L. Beyond currency, what money really represents. Money is not the root of all evil. It's a tool that can be used for good or bad. It's what money can buy that truly matters. Not the things, but the experiences. Money buys moments that you can't put a price on, a graduation ceremony, a family gathering, or a proper funeral for a loved one. It provides security, gives you options, and buys you time. But money is more than just a means to an end. It represents ownership, whether that's real estate, a business, or an online presence. Investing in things that grow in value, like land or skills, is more powerful than simply saving cash in a bank account. A piece of land can generate income and provide for your family, making it more valuable than a pile of money that loses value to inflation. This principle extends to your work life as well. Money is a tool for trade between you and your employer, a management theory that keeps the world turning. While it's cheap to survive, it's expensive to enjoy the luxuries that make life easier. The key is to understand the difference between needs and wants. We need shelter, food, and clothing. Everything else is a bonus. Money is a source of confidence and security. Having money can give you a sense of security and confidence. You become more aware of your surroundings and your assets because you have something to protect. Not every problem can be solved by throwing money at it, but many can. Health challenges, family emergencies, or big life events like a wedding are all easier to navigate when you have financial security. It's true what they say, it's expensive to be alive. That's why getting your finances in order is a critical step toward living a more secure and confident life. The key to earning money, however, is not just having an idea, but executing it. Money isn't a result of luck, it's a result of discipline, hard work, and a positive mindset. People who believe money is evil often have a hard time attracting it. Instead, they should see money for what it is, a tool that, when used responsibly, can improve lives and create abundance. Navigating life's stagnation. Finding purpose in the pause. Everyone experiences periods of stagnation. When life seems less exciting or you feel stuck, it's a sign that you have untapped potential. This is not a time to panic. It's a moment to pause and reevaluate. The best way to find purpose is to serve others, through your time, your skills, or even your money. For example, I've observed my 18-year-old nephew's self-discipline. While others his age are spending money on frivolous things, he's saving for a new phone. This type of discipline today creates freedom tomorrow, turning empty days into opportunities. Unscheduled, empty days can feel boring, but they are a canvas for breakthroughs. This is the time to plan, to learn new skills, or to simply rest. As a writer, I'm currently experiencing unscheduled days, and I'm using this time to create and pursue new opportunities. When you're feeling stuck, ask yourself a simple question: what do I want? Do you want a bigger car or a bigger house? These are not bad things, but they are wants, not needs. My priorities became crystal clear after I lost a job I had for 3 years. I realized a car, while useful, wasn't a priority because I could use public transportation. The line between wants and needs is subtle, but understanding it is key to living a fulfilling life. How do you test a person's integrity with money? You don't need to put people in a position to steal from you. Instead, you can observe how they behave in small ways. Do they pay back small loans on time? Are they transparent about how they spend money on a shared project? Pay attention to their actions over time. This approach allows you to gauge a person's character without putting your own money at risk. How to position yourself for success. Success is a multifaceted concept that means different things to different people. For our purposes, let's define it as achieving financial stability, pursuing a meaningful life, and having the freedom to do what you love. Positioning yourself for this kind of success requires a deliberate and strategic approach to how you spend your time, money, and mental energy. 1. Master your mindset. Your thoughts are the foundation of your reality. What you read, watch, listen to, and say to others profoundly influences your mindset. To position yourself for success, you need to be intentional about the information you consume. A good example of this is a mentor relationship. By spending time with a successful music producer, I absorbed his knowledge and positive habits, which helped me develop my own skills. You might not have the same luck in finding a mentor, so you need to curate your own influences. You are the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with, so choose wisely. In today's digital age, this extends to the content you consume. By being selective about your information diet, you can cultivate a success-oriented mindset. 2. Turn thoughts into action. Thoughts, ideas, and desires are powerful, but they remain potential until you act on them. The key to success is to transform positive thoughts into consistent habits. Initially, any new skill or routine, like writing or making music, requires conscious effort. There will be plateaus and dips in motivation. However, if you persist, these actions will eventually become effortless habits. Conversely, if your automatic actions are unproductive habits like excessive drinking or smoking, you will remain stuck. Success is found in mastering a skill, and that requires consistent, deliberate action. How to position yourself for success. Success is a multifaceted concept that means different things to different people. For our purposes, let's define it as achieving financial stability, pursuing a meaningful life, and having the freedom to do what you love. Positioning yourself for this kind of success requires a deliberate and strategic approach to how you spend your time, money, and mental energy. 1. Master your mindset. Your thoughts are the foundation of your reality. What you read, watch, listen to, and say to others profoundly influences your mindset. To position yourself for success, you need to be intentional about the information you consume. A good example of this is a mentor relationship. By spending time with a successful music producer, I absorbed his knowledge and positive habits, which helped me develop my own skills. You might not have the same luck in finding a mentor, so you need to curate your own influences. You are the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with, so choose wisely. In today's digital age, this extends to the content you consume. By being selective about your information diet, you can cultivate a success-oriented mindset. 2. Turn thoughts into action. Thoughts, ideas, and desires are powerful, but they remain potential until you act on them. The key to success is to transform positive thoughts into consistent habits. Initially, any new skill or routine, like writing or making music, requires conscious effort. There will be plateaus and dips in motivation. However, if you persist, these actions will eventually become effortless habits. Conversely, if your automatic actions are unproductive habits like excessive drinking or smoking, you will remain stuck. Success is found in mastering a skill, and that requires consistent, deliberate action. 3. Take control of your finances. Where you spend your time and money reveals your priorities. A proven strategy for financial success is the invest, save, spend, ISS formula. This means your first priority is to invest your money in assets that will grow, your second is to save for future goals, and your third is to spend what's left. Losing money is part of the learning process in business and investing. However, if you are not investing or running a business, consistently losing money is a sign of carelessness. You must shift your mindset from spending to investing and saving to position yourself for financial success. 4. Optimize your digital environment. In a world dominated by apps and social media, your digital habits have a huge impact on your life. Many apps are designed to be liabilities, consuming your time and money without providing a positive return. To succeed, you must use your digital tools as assets. Use productivity apps like to-do lists and time trackers to stay organized and monitor your phone usage. View your phone as a business tool, not a time waster. While it's easy to get distracted by social media, remember to use these platforms with purpose. Engage with content and people that add value to your life or business, rather than getting lost in mindless scrolling. 5. Establish a powerful morning routine. Your morning routine sets the tone for your entire day. Simple habits, like making your bed or waking up at the same time every day, build discipline. A great way to boost your productivity is to plan your tasks the night before. This strategy makes you more likely to accomplish your goals because you eliminate the mental resistance of figuring out what to do when you first wake up. Tackle your most important tasks first. This practice, often called eating the frog, ensures that you complete the most impactful work of the day while you have the most energy. When you start your day with a win, you build momentum that carries you through making you more productive and less likely to procrastinate. 6. Associate your industry with intrinsic value. The COVID-19 pandemic revealed the fragility of many industries. It was a wake-up call that a career choice should be tied to an industry with intrinsic value, something that will always be relevant to human survival and progress. When choosing a career for yourself or advising your children, consider industries that are less susceptible to economic crises or technological disruption. Agriculture, healthcare, energy, and finance are examples of industries that will always be in demand. While passion is important, it's also crucial to have an exit plan. If your passion lies in a volatile industry, like sports or music, consider a long-term strategy to leverage your skills into a more stable business. Your job should also be hard to replace. If a robot could do your job, you might be in a precarious position. Develop skills that are unique to you and hard to automate. The key to success is to find a balance between what you enjoy and what has long-term value. What is one thing you can do today to start positioning yourself for success? You should never take your 9-to-5 job for granted. In a society that often preaches the path of self-employment and entrepreneurship, it's easy to resent a traditional job. However, viewing your 9-to-5 as a stepping stone, not a dead end, can be the key to achieving your dreams and maintaining financial security. A job is a powerful tool. It provides you with experience, skills, and a consistent income that can fund your bigger ambitions. The biggest mistake is letting consumerism trap you in a job you hate. If you're working to pay for wants rather than needs, you're not a victim of your job. You're a victim of your spending habits. The goal is to build a life where you don't need to work for a paycheck, but you can't do that if you're not using your current income wisely. Your job is a launchpad for success. The easiest way to get a better job or build your own business is to have a job in the first place. Your current position provides a foundation of skills, experience, and a professional network. Leaving your job should be a calculated move, not an emotional one. Before you quit, you should have a business with a proven track record and a solid income that can support you. Entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, and a steady job offers a certain level of security that allows you to take calculated risks. Instead of seeing your job as a trap, use it as a route to a more secure future. While you're working, build something on the side that can eventually replace your income. This could be a side business, a rental property, or a skill you develop that generates passive income. The key is to avoid lifestyle creep. As your side income grows, resist the temptation to increase your spending. Instead, reinvest that money to build a stronger financial foundation. Your paycheck is a ticket, not the end goal. Don't view your paycheck as the fruit of your labor. Instead, See it as a ticket to your desired life. This means you shouldn't spend every dollar you earn. The secret to long-term success isn't just about earning more. It's about what you do with what you earn. To increase your standard of living, you first need to increase your income. If you can't increase your income, you must learn to manage what you have more effectively. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you've made it just because you have a house, a car, and a family. Life will always present unexpected challenges, and a solid financial base is your best defense against them. To make the most of your income, live on a budget. Look at your spending and identify things you can eliminate: new clothes, new gadgets, or unnecessary luxuries. Take the money you save and invest it. The goal is to have your money work for you, not the other way around. Finding the balance between patience and urgency. Navigating life requires a delicate balance between patience and urgency. There's a time to move slowly and a time to act quickly. Patience is required for big decisions and long-term commitments. Don't rush into a marriage, a new home, or a major financial decision. Take the time to consider all your options and make sure they align with your long-term goals. Patience also means enduring the boring parts of life, such as saving money or building a skill, without seeking instant gratification. Urgency is needed for the right things, taking action on a good idea, starting a business, or making a positive change in your life. Don't delay tasks that are part of your long-term plan. If you have an idea, be quick to start, but patient in the execution. As you work toward your goals, be flexible and willing to change your approach. The key to self-learning is not to seek a single solution, but to gather the tools you need to solve challenges as they arise. So, while it's important to appreciate the stability your job provides, never lose sight of your bigger ambitions. Use your job as a vehicle for growth, and remember that your long-term success is a journey, not a destination. Finding the balance between patience and urgency. Navigating life requires a delicate balance between patience and urgency. There's a time to move slowly and a time to act quickly. Patience is required for big decisions and long-term commitments. Don't rush into a marriage, a new home, or a major financial decision. Take the time to consider all your options and make sure they align with your long-term goals. Patience also means enduring the boring parts of life, such as saving money or building a skill, without seeking instant gratification. Urgency is needed for the right things, taking action on a good idea, starting a business, or making a positive change in your life. Don't delay tasks that are part of your long-term plan. If you have an idea, be quick to start, but patient in the execution. As you work toward your goals, be flexible and willing to change your approach. The key to self-learning is not to seek a single solution, but to gather the tools you need to solve challenges as they arise. So, while it's important to appreciate the stability your job provides, never lose sight of your bigger ambitions. Use your job as a vehicle for growth, and remember that your long-term success is a journey, not a destination. 1. The corrected October budget. Income. Salary, $13,000. Rental income, $12,000. Other income, $2,000. This includes $1,000 from So Long, our $600 from Malum, and our $400 from Katho. Total income, $27,000. Savings and house project. Savings, $20,000. This money is specifically for your house project, moved from your emergency account. Expenses. Rent, Grandpa $5,000. Stockfell, $5,000. Vodacom, $450. Telcom, $450. Food, $2,000. Transport, $1,700. Bank fees, $400. Total expenses, $15,000. Budget summary. Total income, $27,000. Total expenses, $15,000. Money left over, $12,000. 2. Financial suggestions. Separate savings. It's a great idea to track your savings separately from your regular income and expenses. This helps you see how much money you have left over after all your bills are paid, which you can then use to reach your savings goals. Track all money coming in. You correctly included the money from loans as income. Continue to do this so you have a complete picture of your finances each month. Consider an emergency fund. While your house project is important, having a separate emergency fund for unexpected costs, like medical bills or car repairs, can provide a crucial financial safety net. 3. The house project and emergency fund. The decision to use funds. Using your $20,000 emergency fund for your house project is a risky move, but it's not necessarily the wrong decision. The risk: you are now vulnerable to emergencies. If something happens, you might have to rely on loans or credit, which can lead to debt. The benefit: by using the money, you're getting a key project moving, which can increase the value of your property and is a better use of your capital than having it sit in an account with a low return. Moving forward, replenish your fund. Make it a priority to rebuild your emergency fund as soon as you can. Create a plan. Look at your budget to see if you can cut back on any expenses to save more money each month and speed up the process of rebuilding your safety net. Street 1. The corrected October budget. Income: salary, $13,000. Rental income, $12,000. Other income, $2,000. This includes $1,000 from So Long, our $600 from Malum, and our $400 from Katho. Total income, $27,000. Savings and house project. Savings, $20,000. This money is specifically for your house project, moved from your emergency account. Expenses: rent, grandpa, $5,000. Stockfell, $5,000. Vodacom, $450. Telcom, $450. Food, $2,000. Transport, $1,700. Bank fees, $400. Total expenses, $15,000. Budget summary: total income, $27,000. Total expenses, $15,000. Money left over, $12,000. 2. Financial suggestions. Separate savings. It's a great idea to track your savings separately from your regular income and expenses. This helps you see how much money you have left over after all your bills are paid, which you can then use to reach your savings goals. Track all money coming in. You correctly included the money from loans as income. Continue to do this so you have a complete picture of your finances each month. Consider an emergency fund. While your house project is important, having a separate emergency fund for unexpected costs, like medical bills or car repairs, can provide a crucial financial safety net. 3. The house project and emergency fund. The decision to use funds. Using your $20,000 emergency fund for your house project is a risky move, but it's not necessarily the wrong decision. The risk: you are now vulnerable to emergencies. If something happens, you might have to rely on loans or credit, which can lead to debt. The benefit: by using the money, you're getting a key project moving, which can increase the value of your property and is a better use of your capital than having it sit in an account with a low return. Moving forward, replenish your fund. Make it a priority to rebuild your emergency fund as soon as you can. Create a plan. Look at your budget to see if you can cut back on any expenses to save more money each month and speed up the process of rebuilding your safety net. Street: unlocking hidden information and the power of self-discipline. The world is full of hidden information, lessons that are right in front of us, but often overlooked. Whether you are a young person starting out or an adult looking for a new path, the key is to adopt a mindset of continuous learning and adaptability. Throughout my life, I've worn many hats: a producer, event organizer, real estate owner, and now a writer and podcaster. I don't see these as separate lives, but as different phases of a single journey, each providing unique skills and perspectives. The common thread is a relentless curiosity and a passion for learning, which I've found most effectively through reading. Books have allowed me to live 1,000 lives, absorbing the wisdom of people like Henry Ford and applying their principles to my own ventures. The digital age offers a similar opportunity. You can influence others and build a community by sharing valuable insights online. This isn't about being a follower, but about finding your own voice and connecting with people who share your values. Social media platforms like Facebook or YouTube, when used with intention, can be powerful tools for personal and professional growth. The discipline paradox: why it's so hard and how to conquer it. We all know the importance of self-discipline, yet it's incredibly hard to practice. The reason lies in a few key paradoxes. 1. Laziness and the allure of easy tasks. It's easier to scroll through social media than to start an important project. This is because discipline requires you to delay gratification. The solution is to force yourself to do the hard thing first. If you're craving a TV show, commit to doing nothing until your important task is done. The boredom will eventually push you to act, and once the task is complete, you can enjoy your leisure time guilt-free. 2. The need for endurance and a strong why. Discipline is not a one-time effort. It's a marathon. We are often motivated by external factors, like a demanding boss or a fear of failure. However, true discipline comes from an internal drive, a North Star, that guides you toward your best self. For example, the fictional character in For Life endured years of injustice because of his unwavering commitment to a higher purpose. When your why is strong enough, you will endure the boring, difficult parts of the journey. 3. The sacrifice of good stuff. Discipline often requires you to give up short-term pleasures for long-term gains. This could mean saving money instead of buying new clothes, or skipping a night out to work on a business plan. People who succeed are masters of delayed gratification. They know that what they are building is more important than the opinions of others or the distractions of the moment. 4. The power of public accountability. When you share your goals with others, you create social pressure that can help you stay on track. But this can also be a double-edged sword. Surround yourself with people who are also striving for success. Their support and positivity will motivate you, while the opinions of those who are not on a similar path can become a source of distraction and doubt. 5. Acting against the grain. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to build discipline is to do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Show up to work on time when others are late. Volunteer to lead a project when no one else will. By consistently acting with discipline, you differentiate yourself and build the character needed for long-term success. The key to all of this is to build a personal system that supports your goals. Instead of looking for a quick fix, focus on building small, positive habits. Don't mistake a hobby for a career, and don't mistake patience for laziness. Your time and money are your most valuable assets. Use them wisely too. Use them wisely to create the life you want. Embracing confusion. It's okay to be confused. Confusion is a natural part of life. It's a sign that you are on the verge of a breakthrough, not a failure. Embracing your confusion, rather than hiding from it, is the first step toward finding clarity. Think of it this way. Your confusion is a signal to those around you that you need help. A spouse or a family member might see your stress and offer guidance. In a learning environment, hiding your confusion only prevents you from truly understanding the material. The most successful people are not those who pretend to have all the answers, but those who are comfortable admitting when they don't. You are not crazy, you are learning. It's crucial to distinguish between confusion and a mental health issue. Confusion is a temporary state of uncertainty, while mental illness is a serious condition that requires professional help. I can speak from experience. After a period of mental illness, I went through a phase of profound confusion. I was in a state of transition, and my mind was working to re-engage with the world. During this time, I sat in silence, simply letting my mind wander, and eventually, my clarity returned. This experience taught me that sometimes, the best way to deal with confusion is to simply sit with it and allow your mind to process. The antidote to confusion: research and consideration. The old saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, is a powerful reminder that if you feel stuck, you need to change your approach. If you're a big reader of personal development books like me, you'll find that different authors often present similar ideas in contradictory ways. This can be confusing. The key is to take a step back and analyze the information. What are the pros and cons of each philosophy? Don't blindly follow one path. Instead, use your intellect to build your own system that works for you. This applies to every decision, from where you live to who you marry. You must take the time to research and consider all options. Don't let the fear of making a mistake stop you from taking a calculated risk. Money, the ultimate source of confusion. Money is often the biggest source of confusion in people's lives. We're taught to correlate money with hard work, but this isn't always the case. For many, a paycheck becomes an end in itself, rather than a tool for financial freedom. This is what Matthew meant when he wrote, "For to every person who has, more will be given, and he will have in abundance. But from the person who has not, even what he has will be taken away." My mother once asked me what I would do with money from a cheap sale, a question that showed her own confusion about the purpose of money. It's a common trap. People work hard for money, but they don't know what to do with it besides spending it. The key is to detach money from the idea of work. Your purpose in life is not just to survive. Instead of working for money for the rest of your life, work for a period of time and figure out a way to invest in something that won't require all your time. Working can be a great thing, but it's most fulfilling when it's an expression of purpose, not a means to an end. When it comes to money, a lack of clarity can be devastating. That's why research and careful decision-making are so crucial. Before you spend, ask yourself if this purchase will make your financial life more effective, not just your lifestyle more comfortable. Closing section and credits ****. ###### final words. This journey wasn't glamorous. It was sweat, stress, and relentless focus. But if a guy from Inanda with a Toyota salary can turn our 35,000 shacks into our 12,000/month passive income, so can you. Remember delay gratification. Your future self will thank you. Avoid debt. Build with your own money, even if it's slower. Tenants are customers. Treat them fairly but enforce rules. Family and business mix carefully. Clarity prevents chaos. ##### acknowledgements. Mankulu and Lwazi Ngcobo for wisdom, loans, and unconditional support. Masuku, Malangu, Babspu, the backbone of my projects. My tenants. Your rent pays my freedom. Let's keep this ecosystem thriving. Grandpa's ghost. That tombstone on my land taught me due diligence. ##### call to action. Stop dreaming. Start small. Track every rand. Build rooms, not excuses. Lwazi Ngcobo, DJ Swing. Inanda, Durban Malwazela @gmail.com 0840196532. ***, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. ***, flood disasters, 2017 and 2022. Tenant management and crisis response. Security investments, cameras, armed guards. 4. Financial breakdowns, ***, cost tracking, material, labor, mistakes. Detailed expenditure lists, 2023 to 2025. Budgeting tips, avoiding loans, using rental income. 5. Hiring and managing workers, ***. Trust but verify. Builder, electrician, plumber stories. Quality over friendship, firing bad contractors. Key reliable partners, Masuku, Malangu, Babspu. 6. Current projects, 2025, ***. Building at home versus buying land. Delays, hardware issues, and taking charge. Updated financial snapshots. 7. Family and business balance, ***. Grandfather's blocks, family versus business. Girlfriends and focus, drawing boundaries. Hiring without proof, court battles, and lessons. 8. Final advice and closing thoughts, ***.